Hi guys, and welcome to Lisa Loves, and it's time for my weekly catch-up. This is what I've been watching, or if I've been reading or whatever, last week, which was the 17th to the 23rd of September. So it's been a dismal week. It's been a week of not very many movies. I need to cut down on watching YouTube. I'm too busy watching you guys. I'm not getting to watch my movies. I started the channel and I used to watch a lot of movies, so I had a lot of reviews to share with you guys, but now, honestly, it's bad. This week I have watched 6 movies in a week. That's atrocious. That was usually like 2 to 3 days worth of movies. Well, 3 days worth of movies for me normally, but yeah, let's get kicked on with what I've been watching this past week. I'll just tell you straight off the back, the main movies I've been watching this last week are the Halloween movies. I did say I wanted to watch them all again before October 19th, so far I have watched 5, 4 of which were last week, number 5 was last night, so we'll get to that. The first movie I watched this week is one that's completely different, and it's called Sierra Burgess is a Loser. I really enjoyed this movie. This is, you could say it's like chick flick, teen romance, I don't know, but sometimes I like to watch something sweet and nice that requires not too much thought because I'm knackered or I can't concentrate. So this is what I Feel Pretty should have been. This gives the message that I Feel Pretty tried to and failed dismally. This is about a young girl called Sierra Burgess in high school who is a nerd, for want of a better word. She's very intelligent, she's musical, she can do anything, but she's not slim, she's not really fat either, to be honest. She's a normal shaped girl. She's not your typical classical cheerleader beauty. She's shy, she's not popular with guys. She's just a really likeable character, to be honest. And she has a big thing about a high school jock, plays football, really handsome lad, would never look twice at her. But he's a nice lad on top of, you know, usually high school jocks that are brilliant at everything are not very nice people, but this lad is an exception. This probably isn't altogether realistic, but to cut a long story short, one of the cheerleader girls who's in a group that like to pick on Sierra thought it would be really funny to give this lad Sierra's telephone number when he asked for her number, and it starts a communication back and forth between Sierra and this boy. The boy thinks it's this pretty cheerleader he's talking to. Sierra knows that's what's happened, but she's liking talking to this boy way too much to tell him the truth, and they slowly fall in love. And it's a story about the implications and what happens and the lengths she goes to try and hide who she is, and it's just an altogether sweet, lovely little movie with a really nice message. And I felt it didn't do what I Feel Pretty did. It didn't lessen Sierra's character because she looks different. It didn't lessen her as a woman or as being attractive because she was a bit larger than the other girls. It celebrated her intelligence, her uniqueness, and there's a song that she writes in this movie called Sunflower, and that basically sums up the entire premise of the movie. It's basically calling herself. She writes it and she sings it in the movie too. She lets her dad hear it. And then the boy that she's in love with gets it, and it's a beautiful song about how she's a sunflower, and perhaps the boys want her to be a rose, but she isn't, and it's just a really, really pretty song. So I really enjoyed this. I do have a really geeky female side that likes things other than horror. I really like this. It was really sweet. I'd recommend this to Two Vloggers More if you're watching, guys. I think you would really enjoy this. Kelly, you probably like this as well because you do like movies that are not just horror also, so check that out, guys. It is really, really sweet. It's on Netflix at the moment, that's where I saw it. Right, the next one I saw was at the cinema, and it's A House with a Clock in its Walls, which I was meant to review with Isaac and I forgot, so I may do that later today. This is the new one with Jack Black. I don't understand why this one wasn't released maybe in 2 or 3 weeks' time, because it's the perfect Halloween family film. I really liked it. Cate Blanchett is in it. She is amazing. Jack Black. I was hoping, as I watched this, Jack Black hadn't done his usual manic thing that he does, like out of School of Rock and that sort of thing. He always has to play the fool and do this weird head thing and have his arms going, and I'm thinking he hasn't done it, he's going to get through this movie and he won't have done it. And he did it. But taken away from that, it's a really good movie, really interesting story, really good acting, nice effects, bit spooky but not. It's a 12A, so it's probably going to be PG-13 in America. I talked about certificates last week on my vlog. It really aggravates me that in America, if a movie's R-rated, you can still take your kids, but in the UK, you can't take your kids to a 15 or an 18 movie. It's illegal, even if they're with their parents, so anything remotely horror, I don't know, The Nun, The Slender Man, all of that stuff, kids can't go to see that regardless. The highest thing Isaac can watch is a 12A, which is what the Meg was certificate. He wouldn't go see that though. So yeah, that's a bit frustrating, but this one is really good for kids. It's a little bit spooky, and there's little places that's a bit, ooh, that's a bit scary for young kids, but I think it's perfect. Isaac really enjoyed it, and he would be a bit sensitive to certain things. He's not that keen on watching horror, so yeah, House with the Clock on Its Walls, really well worth a watch, especially if you've got kids at Halloween. Take them to the cinema to see this, guys. It's really well worth a watch. That was A House with the Clock on Its Walls. The only other 3 movies, I'll put my little book down here, is the Halloween movie. I'm looking in the wrong place. I'm looking at my screen instead of you. Right, sorry about that. So, I've seen all the Halloween movies before. A long time ago. I've forgotten most of them, so I thought before October 19th I want to watch them all again. And a lot of people have been reviewing them all individually, and I really haven't wanted to watch any review videos because I don't want things spoiling that I've forgotten, if that makes sense. So I haven't watched any Halloween reviews. I've up to my number 5 now. So I think I've watched the best, although I am looking forward to watching the Rob Zombie ones again. I'm sorry folks, I do like the Rob Zombie Halloween. Apologies, but yeah, I do. So Halloween 1, the first thing I have to say that I was struck with in watching this is the score. I hear a lot of people obviously always talk about John Carpenter and his score and how good it is, and you know, I do like remember the sort of general sort of but that's my shit impression. But when I watched it, I was really taken by how effective the score is and how creepy and ominous the score is. There's actually a CD with a lot of extra features in the copy that I've got, and it's got like interviews with the cast. I think it was in the year 2000, and they said that when it came out in the cinema and when kids were watching it, a lot of them weren't doing this, they were doing this, because the actual score freaked them out so much. Which you have to be doing something right, really. But I really, really enjoyed this. Jamie Lee Curtis was amazing. Was Dr. Donald Pleasence, oh my god, so good. Dr. Loomis, he's just the star of the show for me. I love him. Interesting to know that they asked Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing both to do the role of Dr. Loomis before Donald Pleasence, and they both said no. But I think Donald Pleasence is just amazing. I love that character. It's just, he's the strength behind the movie, so far for me anyway. I love him. But yeah, the first one, really strong, really solid, acting really good. The score was amazing, and the cinematography in this is fantastic. And when I last saw this, I was a lot younger and I wouldn't have really appreciated things like that. Like one particular, I'm hoping that I've got the right one here. I'm terrible. I only watched them a few nights ago and already I'm confusing 1 and 2. The scene where he's in the wardrobe and Jamie Lee Curtis is standing in front of it, should I say Laurie is standing in front of him, and you just see his face come into shot and it's lit up quite blue, that scene, and that's all you can see, and it's like, wow, that scene is just amazing. And then I think he lashes out with his knife and cuts her blouse down her arm. But yeah, cinematography, it would just give me shivers. I loved it. Then I watched Halloween 2 the same night. This is the one where Laurie is in the hospital. And spoilers, guys, if you haven't seen any of the Halloween movies, I'm going to talk about stuff that happened, so don't watch them. I'm sure you've all seen them. I avoided them because I'd forgotten loads, but we lead up to obviously Dr. Loomis blowing up a room in the hospital and we think that Michael Myers is dead. Should have been dead, really. Dr. Loomis, how did Dr. Loomis escape that? I mean, really, anyway. So we have argument for why Michael is kind of immortal, but Dr. Loomis, he was in the middle of the room with the bloody lighter, and, well, anyway. I really enjoyed Halloween 2 as well. Let me see if I've written anything down. All I've written down is hospital blown up. That's helpful. So that's the main two things I remember. So yeah. I didn't quite enjoy this one as much as number 1, but I did really enjoy it. Again, the Laurie Strode character I really enjoyed. Michael Myers, awesome. Cinematography, really good. Not quite as good as number 1, it has to be said. Dr. Loomis, amazing, trying to convince everyone sort of what's happening. I thought that the sort of like town hicks with the shotguns was a little bit, hopefully I'm in the right one there, was a little bit far-fetched, but yeah, really enjoyed it. Enjoyed the characters, enjoyed the new characters, so that one's all positive for me also. Doesn't quite have the same feel as the first one, but I did really enjoy it. Number 3, Season of the Witch. Right, this movie. I started watching this movie and for the first quarter I thought, oh god, this is awful. This is really bad. I thought, what's going on here? As I got into it, in spite of myself, I really, really enjoyed it. Especially the whole thing about the Stonehenge chip being in the masks, and obviously the song and the do 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 do. And this is the Halloween that I remember the most from being a kid, a teenager. Just because of that song that everyone remembers, the masks. I think it's got a lot of more iconic things to remember, this one does. So I did remember an awful lot of what was going on, and it did at times appear a bit stupid to me. I mean, the doctor, I've written him down. Dr. Chalice, and he teams up with Ellie, who's the daughter of a man that has died through this whole freaky mask thing. Would she have slept with him? Really? My toes were curling when them two got together. They curled. Darren says it must have been his moustache. I don't know what it was, but it just didn't. Why did they have to make them sleep together? It was just so silly. But when I finished, my conclusion is I did really enjoy this movie. I did think it was really, really good. But as part of the Halloween franchise, no. This should have been a movie on its own, a standalone movie, and I think it would have got a lot more success had they have gone that route. It would be very, sort of a lot more iconic Halloween. I don't mean Halloween the movie, I mean Halloween the season, like Trick or Treat. It would have been a lot more, I don't know, I just think it would have worked better because you're losing a lot of fans of the Halloween franchise trying to include this as a Halloween movie. If you had have had it separate, I think you would have had a lot of fans of the Halloween franchise that just liked the movie for what it was. I hope that makes sense. So yeah, I did enjoy it. I did like the imagery. I loved the masks. I loved the song. I liked the idea. Loved the bit when the young lad and the pumpkin mask melted and the snakes and stuff and the bugs. That was awesome. I've got a cold, by the way, folks, so apologies for the voice being a bit croaky. It is the season of colds and the like, and Isaac's back to school and bringing home no end of stuff with him. So yeah, Halloween 3, enjoyed it. Should have been a movie in its own right. Number 4, this annoyed me. I'm assuming you guys that are massively into Halloween, I'm thinking Sean Urshan here, will be able to tell me. I'm assuming that because they didn't have John Carpenter that they couldn't get Jamie Lee Curtis on board for this one, hence the need for her daughter, Jamie. I was really annoyed by this because they basically just write off Laurie as having been in a car accident and having been killed, and I'm like, it's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 where Sally's died in a mental institution. It's like, oh well, great, thanks, you've killed off one of my favourite characters here. And you haven't even the decency to bring them back into, I don't know, could they not have somehow got round it? Could they not have maybe, I don't know, had her staying away or something? With the possibility of coming back in the future, which obviously we know she does. Yeah, so that irked me a bit that they did that. I liked Jamie. I thought her acting was amazing for a little girl. Really, really, really good. Very impressed by her. I like the storyline in this one also. Dr. Loomis, as always, absolutely amazing. Love him. Then there was, Rachel, her stepsister. Rachel. Really actually liked her character in that. Don't think an awful lot to her taste in men, it has to be said. Right guys, I'm really sorry for the mess up in this video. One of my subscribers, Mr. Hyde63, told me that about 3 to 4 minutes of my video is blank. Awesome! So I'm just going to try and remember what I was talking about and put a very, very short version of. So yeah, I was obviously just talking about the return of Michael Myers, and one of the main things I wanted to say that amused me, I'm just going to switch over to my shortcut. This little section was left in because I took it in another timeline which didn't blank, if that makes sense. This particular scene in Halloween 4, I'm just going to press play. This will have aggravated every man that I can think of in the world. This woman has the most perfect breasts probably ever, and you guys don't get to see them. Oh my goodness, the frustration. There we go. Nope, nothing covered. Not good. Not good. Yeah, so I'd put that in, but me talking about it is gone. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. The frustration, I can imagine. Poor guys. I was lastly talking about what I was watching on TV. So this is one of the programs I've been watching, The Purge. I've been enjoying it. So yep, that's one. And the other is American Horror Story. I've got quite high hopes for this one so far. Kathy Bates is awesome as always. I just had been talking about what ones in the series I enjoyed. Asylum is my favourite by a country mile. None have ever got close to that one as far as I'm concerned. I also really enjoyed what was it called? Hotel. I then had been talking about Lady Gaga, who I love, and had been talking about the trailer for the new movie that she's in with Bradley Cooper. It's a remake of an old movie called A Star is Born. It was a Barbra Streisand and Chris Christopherson movie, and they're both singing in it. I know that Bradley Cooper, actually, the footage in the trailer was recorded at a festival he showed up at Impromptu in the UK. I think I've prattled and filled the gaps and shortened down that 4 minutes to maybe 1 minute. So Asylum, then Hotel, and the other two I really enjoyed were Murder House, which was the first one, and I quite like Roanoke. I know that's maybe not everyone's taste. I wasn't a fan of Freaks or Coven. I know Coven's quite popular, but I thought that was quite a poor one. So we'll see what happens with this one. Kathy Bates is awesome, as always. And I love Evan Peters? You know who I mean, the blonde guy that's playing the gay hairdresser. Loving him as well. Really good. So yeah, so I've been watching those. Apart from that, just really documentaries on telly. I've stopped watching, Celebrity Big Brother's over. They've started a new Big Brother, a normal people one, which is the last one they're not doing anymore. I did start watching it and then I says, look, I can't be doing this. I can't give an hour of my time every night to this. And I've stopped watching it, much to my husband's glee. But yeah, just been watching documentary stuff, true life stuff and crime stuff and all that sort of jazz. Still reading The Good Daughter by Karen Slaughter. It's taken so long. I listen to it on audiobook mostly. In bed at night, and invariably I fall asleep and then have to try and find where I left off. So I'm probably only about halfway through that book, but it is really, really good. It's this sort of thing, it's really difficult to fit, and I wanted to try and read more, but since sort of YouTube I've really been enjoying it and it's took off for me, I haven't had time to do as much other stuff. And it's like, oh, I'm thinking, do I need to really slow down the YouTube thing and stop doing it so much and stop watching so many? It's just really sort of getting in the way of life. I know some of you out there have got kids and some don't, but when you've got kids, getting the time to do this is really difficult, especially when most of the videos that you watch are not suitable to play while your child is in the room or up. And given that I take Isaac to bed at night and I'm not back downstairs till about 8:30 in the evening, That's a very small window for me to watch videos, and my husband doesn't want to be sitting watching loads of people's YouTube videos, so I'm trying, guys, I am trying. But then I've got the new series 3 from the Grave coming soon with Movie Massacre and Strange Monkey, which I'm really looking forward to. I'm hoping to get that recorded today if I get time. I have watched the movie that I need to review, which is Trick or Treat. It's going to be the first movie showcased in our new series, which is due out next month. Strange Monkey has recorded his section, Movie Massacre's doing his this week, I believe. So I need to get it done. I'm behind, guys. It's not good. I do not like being behind on things, but yeah. That's everything that's happening at the minute. Listening to loads of Backyard Babies. I'm not going to bore you. You've heard me talk about them 100 times over. That's what I'm listening to in the car at the moment, which is the only time I really listen to music. So yeah, I will leave it there for now because Isaac's on his way back from school and I have to go and get his homework done with him. So yeah, I hope you found something of interest there. I know it was mostly Halloween and maybe not that much new stuff in here, but hopefully you took something from it. So, it's over and out from Lisa Loves.